Yo, what up, people? It's your boy, the Kryptonian, saying here, bringing you a review for One Piece chapter 338. And it's pretty cool to see the fact that Koza's meeting his uncle again, and Toto's meeting his little brother. That was pretty damn cool. Now I understand why Gadatsu had to come back to Alabasta. So that was pretty cool to kind of see that. Now, this chapter in itself, fairly simple, but at the same time, more building blocks are coming. The ticking clock with the incoming tide that's been building in. This is a really good chapter, guys. Really, really good. So I'm going to start unpacking it at the very end. I like how we see the order being given by Paulie to have all of their men stationed around the island, and he says that there's no way that they're going to be able to survive the tide, especially on the boat that they came in, the merry-go. And we know that Usopp's on there, and Usopp knows that the tide's coming, so it's looking like that guess I had earlier that maybe Usopp would have to actually see the merry-go break down is finally coming to fruition. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at this point, because they're more than likely going to go look for that boat to see if Luffy and his crew come to it. And that's going to be interesting to see the interaction between Usopp and some of those men. Because Usopp, I don't think Usopp's at that point, as pissed off as he is. Now that he's had some time to sleep on it, I don't think he's going to fully disown the crew. I think this is one of those things where your brother's upset and you're upset at your brother, and neither one of you are able to kind of say, like, okay, I fucked up, this was my mistake. That's why I'm putting Luffy and Usopp at this point. But I gotta say, one thing that I found very, very interesting is during the fight, Luffy, he's holding back. And it's a direct contrast to what happened when he's fighting Franky. When he's fighting Franky, Franky called him out, Luffy had a bone to pick, and Luffy was blowing off some steam on Franky, you know, the steam being what's going on with him and Usopp. But when the shipwrights are attacking him, Luffy's not even trying at this point. You know, like when he was fighting before against Rob Lucci, I feel like a lot of that was Luffy in self-defense. And you know, sometimes like when you throw hands at somebody, it's more so like, back the fuck up off of me. That's what I think was going on there. And I like how in the last chapter we see the rope around Luffy's neck, but in this chapter it's around his arm. They're chasing after Luffy when Luffy tries to get some distance from him. Over and over he's saying, I don't have a reason to fight you guys. Leave me the fuck alone. My beef's with him. You guys, I don't know what it is. We didn't do anything to that iceberg guy, or as Luffy calls him, that ice guy. And Nami is freaking out more than once, and it would seem like to me that Nami, after what happened with the fight with Silver Fox, that Nami would understand, like, hey, Luffy can take a lot. And even Luffy has to remind her, look, woman, do you really think that that was enough to finish me off? Because what happens is they hit Luffy with a really, really big attack, causes this huge explosion after he's pinned to the wall, and it was very impressive to see how Luffy was able to get away. And I do like how Oda showed fear one time on Luffy's face where the knives are being thrown. Is because of his devil fruit. If he gets directly pierced, he can sustain damage, as we see with Crocodile and as we saw with Enel. So I thought that that was pretty cool just to have that in there. And that's something going forward as Luffy fights stronger people. They're probably going to have knowledge of the weaknesses of his devil fruit. But at the same time, as he starts fighting bigger people and stronger people, he's got to be able to hide that, okay? Like little small things. The more skilled fighters you face, the more they're going to be able to disguise their weaknesses. And that's something that you have to work on, and it gets worked on every level. For instance, like when I played football in high school, I played as a defensive back. I was a safety, and one of the things that I learned on the freshman year was if I just watched the quarterback, his eyes would always tell me he's going to throw. And it's because when you're 13, 14 years old, you haven't really learned how to not give away your intentions. But as I started moving through the ranks, I started understanding, like when you get to the JV level, like, oh shit, I can't really do the same things I was doing before. The quarterback's not really going to tell me where he's going to throw if I just pay enough attention. Same thing when you get to a varsity level. Like at each level, there's an improvement. And what we've been seeing is the deeper Luffy's gotten into the Grand Line, these fighters he's facing, they're definitely strong, right? But at the same time, their intellect, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And Luffy is growing, but not at the same rate as the opponents he's fighting. Where like with Enel, that was just a perfect storm. Luffy was fighting someone who he was the direct opposite of. You know, I really feel like if Luffy was not made out of rubber, there's no way in hell he could have beaten Enel. Enel was just on a different level. But it's because of that matchup he was able to win. Same thing with Crocodile. Luffy came up with a strategy, but he had to fight him 2 times before he got to that final time. So a grand total of 3 fights. It took him 3 times to figure out how to beat somebody like Crocodile. As you get further into the grand line, there's no way in hell Luffy can continue like he is. You know, like I said, just small things. Aokiji is another one. Aokiji took this dude out. So it's going to be very, very interested to see how the Straw Hats continue to grow as things progress forward. And gotta say, I like how when Luffy is taking Nami and saying, no, we're going to go talk to this iceberg guy, and he uses his devil fruit ability, stretches to get out of the way, and he's got Nami, and he's getting his Aladdin on at this point. It's like, look, like, it's a whole new world out in this bitch. I don't have a magic carpet, but I can fucking stretch, woman. We're going. I like that. I really like that scene. Now, the whole thing with Chopper and, not Usopp, Chopper and Sanji, we're talking about the high tide coming in. I don't know if they were near the ship because of the way that it was, like their conversation was on one page and then Usopp's was on the other, and Usopp said he heard people, and I don't know if they went close to the merry-go, said it really loud, and then they just ran the fuck away. That way Usopp would at least, you know, have some information. And Usopp himself comments on the fact that, you know, the wind is getting very strong. If that was Sanji and Chopper, that's pretty cool because it's, you know, something that, you know, I'm a big firm believer on. You know, once you've accepted somebody into your family, whether or not they're blood or not, even if you have your dust ups, it comes to that point where you got to just sit there and say, look, like, I don't want any ill will to befall you. You know, like, we're family, like, just don't go here and avoid this place. So that was pretty cool to see that. So my chapter question for you all is going to be, what were your thoughts about the fact that Luffy wants to go straight to Iceberg and have this conversation with them? What did you think about that? I think that it's pretty damn ballsy because Luffy at this point is a wanted man. And the plot is starting to thicken, shit's starting to get real, and by going directly to the source, you know, Luffy is opening himself up. On one hand, he could just nip all this in the bud by doing that, but on the other hand, by doing that, Luffy exposes himself to some conflict, some trouble. So if you're new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget that hit that like button as it really helps the channel out. Don't forget to share. Thank you for watching. Kryptonian saying, guys.